Good evening, Winchester. Welcome to Visual Radio Live. The views and opinions of Visual Radio are those of the host and his guest, and not necessarily the entire board of directors of Winchester Community Access and Media, or the staff, or the members, or the people of Winchester, Massachusetts, United States of America, planet Earth, the universe, and all known dimensions. Get it covered?
I believe so.
My opinions, they belong to me and my guests, Frank Delestrito and Don Daniel. You've been on Soapbox with me.
Oh, yeah.
But you've never done official visual radio.
No. I created Soapbox, actually.
You did?
Yes.
It was a great idea.
Yeah. It'd be great to have it back.
I would love to have it back.
Yeah.
Before this show, move everything to Friday. I don't know, maybe we'll send a ballot box out for all the members. I love your shirt, 59, just a minute.
Thank you.
I loved being in the Just a Minute Festival. And I'm urging people to join, like Lisa Kavanaugh, actress. I said, you should just do like this Through the Years with Lisa for 60 seconds. She's here she was in LA.
Yeah.
And she dated Christian Brando, and she told the story on Visual Radio a couple of weeks ago. She goes up to she didn't believe Christian that, he was related to Marlon, and they're on his motorbike, and she gets to the door, and Marlon's standing there.
That's quite a shock.
And Marlon goes, I like that you didn't date my son because you knew he was related to me. She goes, I didn't believe him for a second. But she's a lot of fun, and all of a sudden she has to do college classes, on Thursday nights. So the teacher's going to let her do some visual radios, have classes in the day, but tonight she's doing her thing. But she's lovely, and you'd rather talk to her than me, but you're stuck with me.
Oh, well.
So we're going to talk about you creating Soapbox later. Let's talk about what gave you the idea for Just a Minute Film Festival.
Well, it was Just a Minute Film Festival. I thought of people carry phones around that have nice cameras on them. And being here at WinCam, I thought it was very valuable to have ancillary programming. And so that's how the idea came up. And I wanted to do a different kind of film festival, something that was sort of unique. And what we do is we put the films online, or actually the people enter them online, and they have up until midnight on the 30th of this month to get them on. Then starting on the 5th of October, we stream the films through our website, www.justaminute.tv, and allow people to come and watch them. The website has been hit by over 100 countries, and we have entries this year from, I think it's like 15 or 20 countries. You haven't entered yet this year.
No, I don't know if I'm going to, because I won, thank you. Thank you all the people out there. I think it was more Buzzy Linhart winning for me, because it was his fan base were hitting it.
Right.
And then they were, this is great, they loved it, but he has this active Facebook page.
Right.
They went nuts on it. And it was just really cool because we were getting real substantial comments, which, when I'm in the middle of this other movie, and that's a little segment of that other movie.
Right.
But,
well, to clarify, you won the Medford section.
Yeah.
There was actually a 14-year-old girl from Winchester won top prize last year.
So there's tiers of prizes.
Oh, yeah.
I should have clarified. I knew I won Medford.
Right. Now, a lot of access stations around the Commonwealth are putting up prizes for their local areas. Billerica, Salem, Winchester, Arlington, Arlington and Lexington. So far, there's a number of others that are thinking about it. Woburn's got a nice prize.
Woburn's got a nice station.
Yeah, it's a good station, very good station. Brian's a really good man.
You know what we'll try to do is, we're on 24 stations. I'll try to get this edited in the next few days and just pop it out to all the stations, because it's kind of important. Today is the 12th.
Right.
And later on in the show, people, we're going to have our Friday the 13th Charlie Chaplin special, which is tomorrow night. Frank Delestrito, appropriately enough, one of Bela Lugosi's biographers, is our public domain guy. Put that back. That was fun. There's our director, Jay Gold. He's a filmmaker. Jay, we want you on the 59 Just a Minute Film Festival. Hypnotism thing would be really fun.
Yeah.
For 59 seconds. I think that's hypnotic. Thank you, Joe LaRocca, for the logo. That's very hypnotic.
We have some hypnotic little portions of the lead up for the festival. It's there's some interesting graphics that supposedly are hypnotic.
Oh.
When you watch it, you'll see.
But what a great, I mean, two great ideas you had. I'm going to re-emphasize them. I never thought about that. The phone. Everyone's got the phone. Everyone does movies. What a great idea.
Now, it's something funny about that. A buddy of mine started a group called the Digital Cinema Society. And
Reject. That's one of our hosts.
The Digital Cinema Society, if you should go on the web and look it up, but they had a symposium recently where they took professional photographers, cinematographers, and used the red camera, which is the state of the art, the Black Magic, which is another wonderful camera, a nice Canon camera, I forgot which number it was, and an iPhone, and shot the same sequence with each one of those. And people could not tell the difference.
Wow.
I mean, obviously the iPhone used augmented lenses and stuff like that. And obviously some people could tell the difference, but it was surprising how close it was. The lighting was the key. So we feel that people can make really good films. I mean, my phone has, I think it's 15 megapixels. And I mean, that's pretty good quality.
I'm going to interrupt you and call that host just in case there's a problem with the broadcast on the web.
Okay.
Because he doesn't usually interrupt our show unless there's a problem. Hello, John.
What's up?
Is there a problem with our broadcast?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually getting a sports talk show on right now on WinCam.
So we're not broadcasting on the web?
No.
Okay. Maybe our director, Jay, can ask Jodie if we're actually broadcasting on TV. Can you see it in there, Jay? Can you see if we're on TV? We are. Jay says we're on TV, John.
Okay, but you're just not on the web.
What's the Sox score?
It's 1-0 Tampa Bay right now.
And are you watching the football game?
Actually, because of the new system I have with my TV, I have a sports app built into my TV, so I'm able just to tune it in on what is called like a field, and I watch a football going up and down the field when each team has possession.
That's pretty good, man. We're going to talk to you maybe next week, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Johnny.
Bye.
Now, he watches us religiously. And he, when we have time, he does a sports update for us.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, John from Medford is rather famous from EEI and 98.5. He's on all the time, and people know his voice. Mm-hmm. And so he's a regular of ours. But, okay, for some reason, we're not getting internet. But we'll have it on YouTube, so we'll have internet.
Okay. I'll put a link on my website.
That's cool. So the camera we covered, that's you've got a solid camera. This is pretty good.
Yeah, how many megapixels it is? It's good quality though. Yeah, mine is HD.
I'm a host. You're more technical. I produce records, but interesting. Second thing is the other stations. It's great taking a public access tour. I wish more people would do it. Go to Quincy. They're not one of my satellite stations yet, but I need to get them on board. They are really good. Wilmington is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then there's stations in Portland, Maine and stuff. Have you thought of that?
I was up in Portland about 2 weeks ago and was talking to people at the art school there. I didn't talk to the public access people, but I expect to be getting some entries from Maine very soon.
Now, did you hit New England Institute of Art?
Not this yet. I'll be doing that tomorrow.
Okay, good. And Emerson, of course.
Yes, of course.
And there's other schools now, like UMass Lowell, right?
There's a couple of them down on Mass Avenue, way down. MIT and Harvard, yeah.
I'm in the recording studio Monday. I should bring some of your flyers.
Okay.
Because they've got video running in the studio.
Okay.
They've got all sorts of great people coming through.
I'll give you a sampler of year one.
Huh?
I have a 30-minute sampler that I've been bicycling around.
Oh, is it on DVD?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because the fact that you do the 1 minute with the camera, if people want, the public access stations, the recording studios, there's so much media out there.
Oh yeah.
And when you first mentioned it, I'm like, what? But commercials are a minute, and then I realized how much fun it was to tell you a story in a minute.
Right.
But my first impression was, I need 5 hours. He wants a minute.
Yeah, I mean, 5 hours is easy. Andy Warhol did that asleep.
Yeah, with one camera on the Empire State Building.
But no, the promo for the Just a Minute Festival took me almost a month to make, and it's a little bit over a minute because I had to give some credit to the cultural councils of Winchester and Billerica and Salem and Lexington, as well as the Mass Cultural Council.
There's so much people could do. They could go to a library, and libraries are just so full of books and rich public domain stuff you could do a movie thing with. There is so much material out there. People could just go into, archive.org and pick up public domain stuff and have fun and games with all the greats.
Now, we had Tom Violet from Billerica did that last year. He took a public domain, actually took a few of them, and they were very funny. I think Church Chatter was one of his films that did quite well in the festival.
I don't know why public domain movies don't get more play on television with people discussing them the way we do. It's great that WinCam does this on Friday night. And Anthony Gamari tells me that it's quite popular, the film show we have on Fridays. So that's good to know.
Yeah. And you know, our show, The Know-It-Alls, we take public domain films and goof on them in a mystery science theater kind of way.
Good. Now, the Know-It-Alls, all the Know-It-Alls, Linda Doucette, Tom Thornycraft, I'm glad you're here. I want to have all the Know-It-Alls separately and then collectively.
Well, you won't be able to see our face. We can only be seen in shadow.
Okay. So, no, and if you need someone to direct it, you know, I could have fun doing that.
Yeah, it's a fun show. Help us choose some movies.
Huh?
Help us choose some movies.
Oh, well, I got stacks at home. Because, you know, I give Anthony some of the Hitchcock and the... We did a whole Hitchcock series in the last couple of weeks, and now Anthony's on Charlie. So it was our idea, Frank and I, to do the Hitchcock, and Anthony went for it. And then Anthony extended it, which was great, because we love talking Hitchcock.
Yeah, really.
And then Anthony came in with the Charlie Chaplin, and this guy, Delastrito, you're going to be very impressed. He's just so good. And so we've got a nice thing going between WinCam and... I like that, the integration of the station with the public access shows. I think it's a nice hand-in-glove thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, well, you know, I'm public access.
Mr.
You are
Public
too.
Access.
Well, you are too. I'm, you know, taking your film to the access stations. A lot of people wouldn't think of that. They'd hit all the schools.
Yeah.
They would hit all the more.
I'll do that too.
Right, but access is so important. Yeah, you're going to love Ron over at MATV. I haven't been to Everett. Have you been to the Everett station?
No, I haven't.
And the Revere one's kind of, it's only like 2 years old, but I have friends over there. Because I was a member in Winthrop. I got to rejoin Winthrop tomorrow. I'm rejoining Winthrop and Wakefield tomorrow. Have you gone to Wakefield?
Oh, yeah, Wakefield's good.
Yeah. Now, there's a film guy there running it.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that runs the Wakefield, the president.
Oh, okay.
He's in film. He's got some kind of film company.
Huh.
Yeah, ask for him.
Yeah. And Beverly's got a good one, too.
BevCam.
Yeah.
BevCam, Beverly. Oh, have you been to South Hamilton?
I don't even know where that is.
It's next to Beverly. You will love it. So you're going to go to Beverly?
Yeah.
All right, when you go to Beverly, remind me, I'm going to write down their names. It's William over at HW Cam, which is South Hamilton and Wenham. So it's HW, Hamilton Wenham Cable.
Okay.
And the president is a very good friend of mine. And William over there is wonderful. He runs the station.
Well, Endicott's right out there, too.
Yep.
Which has got a great film department.
Yep. Endicott. And Salem State should.
Salem State's got a great... The Sal, and I can't think of Sal's last name, at the Salem station, teaches at... actually, the kids come from Salem State to the station, and he teaches classes there, which is nice, a college station a college class being held in the station.
So as we're talking, I'm going to write down leads for you with these public access stations, because it's good to jog my mind, because I got to get the DVDs out.
Yeah.
And they'll all get this DVD, which is fun. And it's fun having this little society. I have about 24 stations right now. Oh, great one. Haverhill.
Okay.
That's a hike.
Yeah.
But there's like Newburyport, because Haverhill runs us, Groveland, they run us, which is up near Haverhill, Newburyport, and we got another one up there. Newbury, We have 4. Lowell TV.
Lowell's good.
Have you been to LTC?
No, I haven't been up
Oh,
there.
you got to go to LTC. Okay, they play me too. So it's hard to remember. I have a sheet.
Yeah.
I have to.
Got to have a program.
I have a sheet with the 2 sheets with all the names and addresses because I just it's hard when I'm dubbing them and getting them out there. Mm-hmm. But I don't do the mass access thing.
Yeah, the Just a Minute sampler is on Mass Access.
Okay.
So,
You know, with mass access, they can download.
Right.
I got to join mass access. That's next on my agenda too. There's so much to do, Don.
Yeah, there's Mass Access, and then there's another group that does that too.
Peg Media.
Yeah, yeah. So we're on both of those.
Now, does the Alliance for Community Media get involved with 60-second?
Not really. I have spoken with them, and they put it out.
Yeah.
But that's about all they've done.
Now, one of the heads of the ACM is down in Falmouth, right?
You
Or
got
was
me.
Deborah, whomever. I think Falmouth Access. I mean, you could spend your whole life going to all these stations,
yeah,
right down to
yeah.
the Cape,
Right.
Rhode Island.
I'm just going to start a whole lot earlier next year.
It's a lot of footwork, So, all right, my next question is: if today is the 12th, that means there are 18 days left. And what is the deadline?
11:59 p.m. on September 30th.
So it's got to be in by 11:59 p.m.
p.m.
So midnight
Right.
on the
Because
30th.
when it becomes October 1st, it's done.
Because
And that's
it-
Eastern time.
yeah, Eastern time, people. Eastern, fly Eastern. 11:59, 12 days from now. So get your 1-minute movies ready. Get your TVs. This is fun.
You know, there is an app that you can get for 99 cents that you can edit and do special effects.
No, I did not know.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
On your
I think
phone?
I think it's a little bit more for the iPhone, but for Droid, it's 99 cents, I believe.
Well, this isn't a Droid or an iPhone. Could I do it with this, an AT&T phone?
I don't know whether you can edit on that,
I don't think so.
but you can shoot on that.
Yeah.
But you can shoot in the camera. You're a talented filmmaker. Just, storyboard out your show and
Yeah.
shoot it in camera edits.
There was this real bizarre incident near my house, 2 of them, within like a year apart. In fact, I have the dates of it. 2 in the morning, and I hear bang. A car hit a bunch of cars, 2 in the morning. Pushed one car across the street into the other car, and this poor guy had a rent-a-car, and his rent-a-car, or it was his vehicle, like I think totaled. And the tree in front of the dance studio saved the rest of everything. It stopped the car.
Poor tree.
Yeah, that poor tree. But I have the fire department, to their credit, in Medford, did an amazing job of the horrific cleanup. The person had to go to the hospital. I'm sure they're okay. But it was a really bad scene, and I got it all on the camera. It's still in the camera. But it was like the amazing cleanup that the fire department did. Like a year later, Don, the same spot, the same tree. But the guy had borrowed a car because
Not
it
the
was
same guy,
being
though.
totaled. The same guy's car got hit, and the lightning struck twice on the street, and the tree saved it. So there were skid marks. So I wrote to the woman at the dance studio, who's like my neighbor. We don't know each other, but I just looked her up on the web. She said, "Thank you. I had no idea what happened." I said, "It was the middle of the night," and I said, "Thank God your class wasn't in." She goes, "I saw the skid mark, had no idea." I said, "Thank that tree."
Yeah, really.
It
Put a
would have
rock
been
out
right
in front of
through-
that tree.
Huh?
Put a big rock out in front of that tree.
But that's the kind of stuff, people, that is kind of, seeing the fire department being so efficient and seeing them in action, and not with a fire, but with something else.
Right. No, we want people to do documentaries like that, tell stories, create art. I mean, yours is an art piece that you submitted last year.
And it was, I love playing with the birds on the beach.
Right.
I just love that. That's something I love. So it was, to me, this is like, okay, this is what I do for fun. He is crazy. But it's me and the birds and nature and the water and Salisbury Beach, which I love going to. We gotta get there this year. I haven't gone to Salisbury this year.
Better hurry before it starts snowing.
I went to Maine,
Yeah.
did some footage. It's in here. Here's where I did the footage.
Right.
It's not going to snow. It's 90 out there, Don. Your general idea was that. When did you get the idea?
Well,
3?
this is the 3rd season now.
So this is the 3rd event.
Right.
Okay. And you got the idea 3 years ago?
It was a little bit over 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, the first year, we didn't do anything. because I hadn't figured out how to do the website, because it's all web-based. And Peter Pulsiver is my tech guru. He created the website and figured out a way to make everything work.
Which is not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. And it's all housed on our website now. We used to be on YouTube, and we moved off because
Smart.
YouTube has proprietary things that we just didn't want to agree to and make our contestants agree to. So now it's all on our website.
The other thing, too, is people can hack down YouTube by claiming they are you and that you're violating their... That's happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
So people will hack, and you don't want the hackability.
No, and also, if someone puts it on YouTube and then sends it to us, YouTube won't take it. I can't redo it on YouTube. In theory. We had a couple of them like that last year.
Interesting. So, it goes on your, whatever company you have goes on their servers,
Right.
and that's pretty cool. Let's backtrack a little. WinCam, when did you join WinCam?
It's about 7 years ago. I was asked to help with our church. We were going to do broadcast, and so they brought me down here and said, train me, and I said, well, you know, I've worked in television for quite a while. I'm not sure how much training I really need, but I started then, and then I applied to the Cultural Council to be on the Cultural Council, and when I did, I was asked to, somebody saw that, and they said, well, you know, you should apply for this position on the board. And so I joined the board at that point, was elected.
Interesting.
I'm the, I think there's two of us. Alan Iden and I are elected by the membership. And there's 5 board members at present. The board's getting ready to grow.
Oh, really?
Yes.
There's going to be new elections?
There'll be an election in November, but there'll be new members to the board added shortly.
So you'll have 7?
Well, it's going to go up. I'm not sure the exact number.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When's the next board meeting?
Monday, actually.
Oh, so Monday this week.
Yes.
So it's usually on Wednesdays.
Yeah, this week, this month it's on a Monday.
So you started with a show for the church.
Right.
And then you had the know-it-alls, and you helped develop Soapbox.
Well, I also did a show called Live from the Winchester Cathedral, a music show. And we did a few of those. It was a lot of fun to do.
Is there a Winchester Cathedral?
No, there's a former church that is turned into a performance space. And we shot there. It's a great space.
Now, the song Winchester Cathedral, is that Dr. West's medicine show? Winchester Cathedral.
Right. I think it even goes back further than that.
Oh,
But
so he
you
covered
should know,
it.
You should know better than I.
Well, the guy's a friend of mine. He's been on visual radio, Norman Greenbaum, Spirit in the Sky.
Yeah.
He was the guy who did Winchester Cathedral.
Okay.
And his manager was a good friend of mine. We just lost George Greif. Good grief, George Greif. George is gone. But he managed Jose Feliciano and Norman Greenbaum. And good old George was really good to me over the years. All these great legendary people, we're losing them. So we need more people to fill the void that these
Come
legends...
on down.
All these legends are gone. But...
No, I directed a lot of public forum type shows too. Actually, we won an award. David Frankel interviewed a young gentleman who was running for governor, and that show was quite successful, won a bunch of awards, and that gentleman went on to become the governor. But he wasn't the governor. He wasn't even nominated at that point.
Governor of...
The Commonwealth.
Oh, what's
Deval
his name?
Patrick.
Oh, Deval.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was the subject of the show.
Yeah, he was subject to the show. Came in, we did a great interview with him, and
Now, I see Dan from time to time. Dan that did the news show. I forget his last name. Dan does a news show here. He was a journalist for years.
I'm not sure who you're speaking of.
There's a lot of members that we had coming in and out of WinCam. That's why I'd like to have like a soapbox or something to bring people back.
Well, you know, somebody told me the other day that the lifespan of a member is about 3 years if you're very active, because you do a lot of shows and then you get sort of burnt out and pull back. But we should goose that number up, you know, 6, 8, 10 years. I mean, I've been here, you know, 7 or 8, I guess.
I've been here at WinCam now 3.5, something like that.
You're not burning out, are you?
Every week. I think I'm probably the most prolific producer host here.
I would say probably so.
And to me, it's an important vehicle. I love WinCam because I'm a big proponent of free speech, and I think you have a great facility here. And I have 5 memberships.
Yeah.
Cambridge, Stoneham, Wakefield, and Winthrop have to be renewed in Winchester. And I have the 24 stations that air me. I just think it's a very important thing. You know, there's this argument, and I know you're good at this, so I'm going to ask you the question. This argument that, it's all going to go to the web anyways, and we don't need public access. I don't agree.
Well, the president of Warner Brothers Cable says that it's 5 to 10 years. We have not seen in Winchester the numbers decrease that much. I believe that it will go to the web eventually, and it's vital to keep the public access available, even if it's not on the web.
Well, I had a guest, Robert Hilliard. He was a teacher at Emerson. He wrote a great book called Low Power Television.
Mm-hmm.
And these low power television stations, if someone builds a community station, that's a for-profit. They can be nonprofits too.
Mm-hmm.
They can become a very powerful station because they can go on as a regular cable station, and then they're not low power anymore, are they?
Or you go on the web and you can reach anybody in the world.
But the problem with the web is you have billions of things to look at.
Right.
Whereas the thing about narrowcasting and the thing about broadcasting is that we had 3 channels in the old days, and then 4.
Right.
Well, we had 4 because we had PBS,
right.
And then the 3 major channels, and then we had. You could maybe get Rhode Island if you lived close enough, and maybe get New Hampshire, but people don't know what it was like growing up in the early 60s.
Well, I remember when Ted Turner's TV station first started. He had a show called The Now Generation, which was a precursor to MTV. All he would show was music and visuals for hours. That was early 60s, or late 60s, early 70s. And then it became WTBS, and then it became Turner Broadcasting.
You didn't think we could do 45 minutes. You now know we could do 5 hours, right? You got that. Don, today, I review films, right?
Right.
I've been reviewing films for years, and today I got in the mail, or yesterday, Beach Boys reunion. I didn't realize in '76 they reunited with Brian Wilson, the original Beach Boys, for 15 Big Ones, which they had a hit off of. Mm-hmm. Chuck Berry hit. Rock and Roll Music was the hit off of 15 Big Ones. But the band reunited, and they did a TV special. All right, so I get this DVD in the mail, and I think it's a concert tour of the Beach Boys. I didn't know if it was recent or what. It's the television special for the reunited band over the album. It is so well done. It's like a major motion picture documentary. And they're playing the band's playing on stage, but they cut into it with like an airplane, and I guess Mike Love is driving an airplane. Mm-hmm. So they have the airplane take up most of the song. You see it's Mike Love driving it, right? And then you've got them in their cars. But the documentary is so well done, and I'm saying, my God, this is a lost art. A great documentary accompanying an album, but it stands on its own as a film. Mm-hmm. Now they just go and shoot a concert. They do, it's high tech. It's all wonderful. The lasers are there and Beyonce's there, but at the end of the day, it doesn't hold my attention.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. There was a project that I worked on with Ben Stiller, Brad Pitt, and the Rolling Stones. It never got made because it was basically a concert film with Brad Pitt and Ben Stiller, sort of like Beavis and Butthead, following the Rolling Stones. That was their whole thing. So it was a story behind, and at some point during the film, they actually became roadies and went on stage and gave the guitar. Mick was producing it, and so it was a different kind of concert film.
Did it get cut at all?
It didn't ever get shot because the writer, it was basically improv because of the nature of the film. But the writer was very slow in getting the script to the Stones, and the Stones says, "We're not holding up the tour, guys. We're out of here." And the tour happened without the film. But it was
that would have been novel.
It was a wonderful idea. And I worked it out where we would have a duplicate of the stage in Burbank. And so we would do some stuff on stage in Burbank and then some stuff live and in concert.
Maybe the idea can be resurrected for another group, for something,
It could be, but, Mick has got his own production company. Yeah.
It's such a machine, the Rolling Stones, and I saw them in '72 when you can't touch that. It was just so pure. Mm-hmm. And now it's a big spectacle, and they're great.
Well,
They're
yeah.
absolutely great. But it loses me because I liked that golden era of theirs, and all the music back then. Lou Reed, Neil Young, anything coming out of the '70s had more of a real earthiness. Now there's too much technology invading. See, we're real lo-fi, and I like lo-fi. It's real.
Yeah.
You get what you get on visual radio. You get professionals. I mean, we got 3 filmmakers here. We got 3 filmmakers working on this. Now that's people passionate about the craft.
Yep.
So let's go a little bit into Don Daniel's life in television and film. Did you start in television?
I started in college. I started making films, and I worked my way through college shooting for
What
ESPN,
college?
Georgia State, working for ESPN and Turner and people like that, doing sports. And from there, I started making films. I was head of the undergraduate area of choosing what topics we would have classes in. So I started the film department at my school, and ended up making dozens of films in school, and then went from there to the American Film Institute, where I made films in Hollywood. And in those days, you were required to do 3 films your first year, and I did 11. Unfortunately, I didn't get to class that much because I was always making movies. I felt
Wow.
it was better to make movies than have people tell me how to do it. And from there, I started working as an assistant director or production manager or eventually producer.
You notice our monitor's working?
Good.
It's great. It's beautiful. Oh, there's Jay. Hey, Jay. Do you still have your films?
Yes, quite a few of them. I have a lot of films because I worked as a bonding rep, and in essence, I was the one that made sure the film was made on time and on budget. And many of those films I was credited as a producer, and many of them I prefer that I wasn't credited as a producer because they're not really that great. I've got a number of my films I've never seen, still shrink wrapped in the DVD case.
So you've got them,
Yeah.
but you just haven't watched them.
Not
But you ever want to do a reel
a reel?
or a documentary on Don Daniel, you know?
Nah.
Eh.
It would be, actually, there was one film that I did, one of the first ones that I was credited as a producer. It's a cult classic in some places. It's called Slumber Party Massacre 2, part of the Slumber Party series. And
Was there a 1?
Yeah, there was a 1 and a 3. I dated one of the stars of 1 and dated the director of 3 and was the producer of 2. But it was from the Roger Corman School. But we made the film for a little bit over $300,000, and it made $14 million in profit.
So wow, okay.
That was good.
Did you ever meet Roger?
Oh yeah,
I'd love to have him here at WinCam.
it's not going to happen. He's got a new book out about him.
Really?
Just came out, I think, last week.
Roger, so is he going to come around and do a book tour, I wonder?
No, he didn't write it. It was written about him.
Oh, because he came to the BFVF and I missed him.
Yeah,
About 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe 10.
yeah.
But he's not, he must be up there.
Oh, he is. He is.
Yeah. We'll have to get Jack Nicholson. So,
Well, Jack got his start with Roger.
right, that's why I said that. You know.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the people. That's what this book is about, is it talks about some of the people. Francis Ford Coppola started there, and Brian De Palma, and
Boris Karloff ended there.
yeah, he did. And
Well, I'm impressed what they did with Boris. I think it was, and who did Targets? Peter Bogdanovich did Targets.
I don't
You
know.
know about Targets?
No.
Oh, you got to look up Targets, man. Targets is a movie about a sniper going after a horror film star, and Boris Karloff is the horror film star. What a great premise. And it might be his last movie. So you got Boris going out on a big note with, you know, Bogdanovich is a big name, and
Right.
and Targets, yeah, you've got to,
I'll have to check it out.
you have to track down Targets. Fact, I'll have to have Frank and I talk about it some night. But, okay, back to your career. So you're doing films at your university, and you form the film department, and then you're helping out with ESPN and Turner. Did you then go into TV?
Well, I started the television station in my college.
Good. More colleges need TV stations.
They do. They do.
TUTV at Tufts.
I'm sorry?
There's Tufts TV, TUTV.
Oh, okay.
Go there with the film festival.
I'll go over there tomorrow.
You know, it's the floor under MFO.
Okay.
You know the radio station?
Right.
It's on the hill.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Right
you
by
go
the
to
library. Isn't it?
when you're up at Tufts, there's the football field and there's the train tracks.
Right.
Because, you know, when they had the AM, the carrier current, they put it on the train tracks and got in a lot of trouble. They had a clear channel signal competing with BZ. They got in a lot of trouble. You can look that up on the web. But above the railroad tracks, right near the bridge, there's a post office.
Yeah.
The West Medford post office is, the Tufts post office is up there. There's a little coffee shop.
Yes.
So if you go to the coffee shop, then you go onto the second floor, there's Tufts TV.
Okay.
Email them. Go to, you know, and let them know, because I don't know, they have classes, right? Who knows when they're there.
Right.
But I've been saying they should have run a line up from the TV station to the radio station and coordinated something. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so then you did the film
Also
thing.
started the radio station at the college.
That's good. Well, you're the media guy, so this is,
Right.
you know, I hope the kids appreciate it.
Well, it's the only 100,000 watt college station in America.
What station is it?
WRAS Atlanta.
I have to see if it's on my mailing list for CDs. Good. Cool. You got into television before Slumber Party? And
Oh yeah, I did a lot of TV and films. When,
in Georgia?
In Georgia. Georgia was number 3 in film production at one point because of a little film called Deliverance. And people would call the state and say, "Where's the Kalawasi River?" And the person would say, "I don't know where that is." But that's the film, the River in Deliverance. And so some guy got the idea to start the film commission, which would, the first film commission. And so films were coming in all the time, and there was not a huge crew base. So they'd come in and say, "We need a crew." And what do you do? What do you need? I can do that. I had a prop and location service for a while, and so I would help find locations or props that were unique. That was a lot of fun, finding all kinds of strange things all over the place. I remember one time going into a warehouse, and a guy collected antique cars, and there were over 100 antique cars in this guy's burlap bag factory. You know, cars were covered with burlap bags, and he'd pull them off, and had a special room for he had some cars from the 1800s.
Wow.
They were all in an air-conditioned, climate-controlled room. But no, it was a lot of fun. And I went from there to the AFI because, you know, if you're going to be whatever you need, that's not the way to get ahead in the film business. You need to decide what you're going to do. So I went to the producers program at the American Film Institute.
So have you considered that the Just a Minute Film Festival is kind of like makes you a Roger Corman of the new millennium, because now you've got all these aspiring filmmakers in a different creative. Maybe you can connect some of them that seem to be on the same wavelength.
I would love to.
You know, maybe there's so much potential here because you've got all these people from all over the world. Now, what's the strangest film you've received for, in a fun way, from the strangest locale, like say in the New Zealand or something, or in South
we had
Africa?
one from Latvia.
Latvia, there we go. See, good. Latvia. I didn't know Latvia existed. I thought it was Dr. Doom's world from Fantastic Four.
And let's see, we've gotten from this year Hungary, Italy, South Africa, England, France, Germany, obviously, Japan, India. I'm trying to think where else we've had films come this year.
Wow. That's
Tons
pretty
of them.
extensive.
Oh yeah.
Now, are they? Is there any dialogue? Are they in their native
Some
language?
of them are. There was one that I really enjoyed a couple of years ago from, where was it from? Somewhere in North Africa. But it was all silent film. It was about a little boy watching someone plant stuff and watching it grow. So he got a light bulb and planted it, and the tree grew with light bulbs on it. It was a very cool little film.
Wow. So there's a whole world out there of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Stuff that makes the Just a Minute Film Festival really special. You could do a whole montage. I wonder if someone could get the initiative to, after the film contest is over, get 90 of them and make a montage, like a dance mix behind it. I don't know. There's just like fun stuff that could develop out of it all.
Well, we've got sampler reels of season 1, season 2, and season 3 will happen after we close the voting, and those will be available.
Now back to public access. WCIT Winthrop. See, I have my little These are really great people over here, and they have a nice active little, in fact, I don't know if they've had their party yet, and their mailing list, I got to make sure that I'm on the mailing list. They have great parties at the boat club. So there's Mike Cabral runs the station. And do you ever see the TV show Gangrene?
No.
It's on the Celtics.
Okay.
And that's one of the staffers over at WCIT Winthrop, Kurt. So Kurt does Gangrene. And it's just, Access TV is a whole other world.
Oh, it is. It is. It amazes me, a station like Bill Ricca, they had a members event recently that 250 people showed up at. To me, that's unbelievable. I mean, here at WinCam, we don't get near that many. And they have an afternoon program 5 days a week for kids.
Does Nancy do it?
No, a guy named Tom Violet does it. Nancy used to do it, and she handed it off to Tom. No, Nancy's program director there now.
Program director.
Yeah.
So she handles the programs that go on the. She handles the programs that go on, like when I send my program, I guess she puts it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got it from the other fellow. Boston Neighborhood Network. Have you gone there? BNN.
No.
And CCTV in Cambridge. Have you gone?
No.
Oh, that's on Mass Ave. They moved.
I know where it is.
Yeah,
right there at the square.
Have you toured it?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
They moved.
They're not there anymore at the
They're
square?
not there where they used to be across from, they used to be behind the Bank of America there. They're not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
They moved across the street to an old theater.
Okay.
So do you know the Middle East nightclub and the All Asia?
Yeah.
If you left the Middle East and took a right, about 5 steps down is, or 5 buildings down is the new CCTV. You got to tour it.
I will.
They offered me a tour. I'm a member, and I only had a quarter in the meter. And I said, gotta go. Ain't worth risking a ticket. I'll come back. Great people. There's all sorts of events at these access stations. There's an event in Cambridge, and I got the letter, and who has the time, Don? You could spend your whole life like...
You're mentioning all these stations. I don't have time to go to those. I've got to get, more stuff out. I need more films from the Commonwealth. There are not that many thus far. It's surprising. More from overseas than there are from the Commonwealth.
Because you got the whole worldwide thing of the web, and people go on it and they find stuff, and filmmakers are always looking for something.
Yeah, they want to get their film seen, and that's what we offer, is to get your film seen by people all over the world. I mean, you can put it on YouTube, sure, but somebody's got to stumble across it or something in order to see it.
And YouTube has finally gotten corporate where there's advertisements on everything. I like the best one. It says skip in 5 seconds. Okay, I'll deal with 5 seconds. Then I hit skip because I need to get to the music, you know?
Right.
I'm usually writing a review or something, and it's a momentum breaker to get a commercial.
Yeah, we have no commercials. There's no entry fee. It's all sponsored by the cultural councils.
Ah. Oh, that's the best thing. There's no entry fee. Mm-hmm. I like that. All right, so we're coming to the part of the show now where we talk to Frank Dell'Estrito, but I want to make sure we've covered all the angles here on this very important film festival. Just a minute. In fact, we're on it. He might be my friend, but we're honored to have Don Daniel here from the Just a Minute Film Festival because I think you're doing important work.
Well, thank you.
You're doing good work. And
go on the website, justaminute.tv, and you can watch the films from the other 2 seasons, and you can enter your film up until midnight on the 30th.
And it's free.
And we pay people to watch.
Ah.
That's one thing that's kind of exciting. It's a viewer's choice festival, so if you go on and vote, you have a chance to win $20 every week, each time you vote.
So here on Public Access TV, we can only talk about free things, but not only is it free, you can actually make money.
That's right.
That's the beauty of public access. We help out our communities. And if you don't mind, we're going to talk to our film critic now about Charlie Chaplin.
Oh,
are you
good.
a Charlie Chaplin fan?
Oh, yeah.
You are.
Some of the greatest films are those silent films of Charlie and Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd and those guys.
I agree.
Frank Dell'Estrito talking about movies.
Frank, say hi to Don Daniel.
Don, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you this evening?
I'm fine. Congratulations on getting on one of the best interview shows in the country.
I'm very fortunate.
And that's your show, Joe, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about.
Frank, he's one of the board of directors here at WinCam too.
Okay, well.
Thank you. That's good. No, I need the praise.
Okay.
Hey, Anthony loves what you're doing with his public domain series, so.
Okay.
Mutual Admiration Society.
I appreciate every fan, and I was giving a talk a couple of weeks ago, and a person raised his hand and said, "I bought a copy of your book," and I said, "Oh, you're the one." So I need every fan I can get.
So where was the lecture?
Let's see. It was. My busy season's coming up in October because I show clips from horror movies and all that. But every now and then, a woman's group or a retirement group or some kind of social group needs a speaker, and they find out I'm willing to do it for free. So I went by and spoke to a club on horror movies and how I wrote my books and things like that. So it went well, and I don't seek out the older audiences, but they seek me out because they're more familiar with the movies that I tend to talk about. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to get the appreciation out of the audience when they've never heard of some of the movies and most of the people whose names you mentioned. But it brings back old memories to these people, so it always turns out well when that's the case. Except when I go to, I haven't done it recently, but I used to go to schools. These kids would be like 6, 7, or 8, and it'd be Halloween time, and I'd say there's movies there's Halloween movies and there horror movies and monster movies, and you'd kind of take them for granted, but it wasn't always so. And then I show clips from the 1930s movies, which I would have been shot in the 1930s because they were considered quite risque for kids. But these kids see worse than that every day a week. So they just love the clips of the old movies. I think the whole movie might bore them, but when I show the highlights, then like King Kong on the Empire State Building or the Bride of Frankenstein coming to life and things like that, they just eat it up. And then part of their day is they are forced to write me letters afterwards. So the next day I get about 20 letters from kids telling me what they liked the most. So I always enjoy that. But I'm kind of out of that loop now. I wouldn't mind getting back into it, but I have no contacts in the grammar schools anymore.
Frank, before we get into the Charlie Chaplin series, Dawn does a show called The Know-It-Alls. And they take a public access movie, a public domain movie, and they critique it. What do you think the know-it-alls should take on? What good public domain movie?
Let's see. There were some amazingly. I prepare a little. I appreciate a little time to do my homework on this, but there's some surprisingly good movies in the public domain. One that comes to mind, I think. Well, you've shown it. It's the Edward G. Robinson, Joan Blondell movie. The one about the artist. I can't remember it. Oh, Scarlet Street. Yeah, you've shown Scarlet Street twice, and I believe another Edward G. Robinson movie, The Stranger, is in public domain, but I'd have to check on that. You've you put me on the spot here.
No, I just wanted it off the cuff. I didn't want you studying, so that's good.
Yeah, we did The House on the Haunted Hill, which surprised me was in public domain.
Good movie.
And the Terror.
Oh yeah.
And what was the other one? We did some really terrible stuff too.
Yeah.
It's fun. We do sort of a mystery science theater thing. So it's
Steve Reeves' Hercules, which I've been trying to get Joe to show, but he always ignores me on that. But Steve Reeves' Hercules movies in the public domain.
All right, we'll look them up. I'll get back to it.
All right.
And what Charlie Chaplin are we watching? We have
6
minutes.
Movies tonight. One is called Burlesque of Carmen. That's April 1915 it was released. And one is called The Vagabond, which is July of 1916. Burlesque of Carmen is, you can flip a coin in the air to find out what length it is. I looked it up online. I believe they shot 48 minutes of film in a cut, but some of the cuts that are out there get down to 31 minutes. And so it's hard to. I don't know what version you're showing. So it could be anywhere from a half hour to a little over 3/4 of an hour, whereas The Vagabond is pretty steady at 24 minutes. So these were not feature films. These were by the standards of the day rather long comedies, because the comedies tended to be one reel, 2 reel tops, and Vagabond would be 2 reels. where Burlesque of Carmen was shot as 4 reels and someone has cut it down to 3. But again, I don't know if you're showing the 3 or 4 reel version. Burlesque of Carmen is, your audience is going to find a bit weird. It is literally a burlesque of the opera Carmen, which was made as a silent movie a year before and was a common opera. So it was really, the audience was expected to come in there knowing some of the details of the Carmen productions and get some of the jokes. Now, I had to look up what the Carmen story was, and I imagine most of your viewers would too. Basically, she's a femme fatale who drives a military officer to desert and then hooks up with a bullfighter, and depending on which version you watch, people come out happy or unhappy at the end or whatever. I guess the last big screen version was 1948 with Rita Hayworth as Carmen. She's a femme fatale. And Chaplin does not play the tramp. He has invented the tramp by now, but he's a big star, but he's not yet the cultural icon. So he plays something other than the tramp. He plays the military officer in this, but if you changed his clothes, he acts just like the tramp. Whereas the Vagabond is a year later. Every year now, the tramp is becoming more of an American institution. So this is a straight Chaplin movie. Chaplin as the tramp movie. It's 24 minutes. Chaplin usually shot comedies at this time that were a bit shorter, so there's actually 2 plots in here. There's a long sequence, which is, I think, the best part of the movie. Is some good slapstick and comedy where he's has one of his a lot of slapstick interaction with a band of musicians that is mad at him. And one thing to watch in all these comedies is the physicality of the humor. They didn't use stand-ins. They didn't use trick photography, and God knows they didn't have much time. They were turning these things out in less than a month.
Did they have the stand-ins not invented back then?
Probably not. I couldn't tell you when the stand-ins were, but Chaplin does all his own work. And when you read the biographies of these silent comedians, they were hurt a lot of the time. They were like professional athletes on the Monday after the game. They were sore. They were hurt. We talked about Fatty Arbuckle's scandal last week, and he had been the week before that he had finished filming a movie in which he had to do a stunt with a hot iron, and it was literally him and a hot iron, and he had a big burn on his back, which is why he stayed in his pajamas all day. And of course, when the scandal broke with the sex and all that, they made a big deal of the fact that he was in his pajamas with a silk robe over, but he couldn't stand the pressure from a belt or a tight suit on his back. So that was something these guys lived with. Chaplin wrote, directed, and stars in them. He's basically, even by 1915, he is out of the mode of anybody else directing him, and he's doing it all himself. He's got his favorite leading lady with him in both of them. Edward, I mispronounce this every week, but Edna Purviance. I don't know how she pronounced it. She is a gypsy girl in The Vagabond, and she is the title role of Carmen in Burlesque of Carmen, and she's quite good as a femme fatale. I was surprised because she usually plays good girl roles, but she pulls this one off. The villain in The Vagabond is the Scottish giant that we talked about last week. Rick Campbell, 6'5" compared to Chaplin's 5'5", so they made quite a contrast. And as we discussed last week, Eric Campbell, about a year after this, would come into a hellacious period in his life, and he'd be dead by the end of 1917. A supporting character in Burlesque of Carmen is Ben Turpin, and even people that don't know his name still recognize his face because he was the famous cross-eyed comedian. His eyes were horribly crossed, permanently so, and as a result of some physical humor that he did on stage, he was in a play where he had to cross his eyes for a whole scene, and he played in that for a while, and one day he couldn't uncross his eyes, which he first thought was a tragedy, but then it turned out that's what made him a star. And let's see, this is Burlesque of Carmen, 1915. By 1917, Ben Turpin will be one of the top comedy stars in the country.
And that's our show.
That's our show, Joe. I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Don, nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Have a great one.
Bye.
The Just a Minute Film Festival is justaminute.tv. I wonder if we can get filmmakers out there to restore some of these old movies, because I'm going to have you back on. We're going to talk about the restoration of these lost classics. But good luck with the film festival this year.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show. The views and opinions are ours and not theirs, but I'm glad they got to listen to us. I hope you come back. It's great. It's been an honor to have Don Daniel on.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Jay Gold. Thank you, Judy Kellerman. Thank you, Sean O'Brien. Thank you, WinCam. Good night. How's that? See?